So, oh my God, Jesus Christ, I really was in the zone to record because I didn't do my fucking whatever, you know what I mean? I didn't do an episode for over a week. And I figured I was going to put one on the Patreon so you 3 listeners have to pay a little something for listening to my mom scream on the phone the entire time I'm trying to record. It's pretty much what's happened. So it's not the best audio by any means. And you know, it's a free country, so I mean, do you hear that? Everybody in the neighborhood can hear that, you know? God. Women, am I right? Just squawk. Just running their beaks all day, all night. Even when they're sleeping, they somehow find a way to take all of the covers and then wake you up multiple times in the middle of the night, which means you never get to reach deep sleep. That's the most important cycle of sleep. Trust me, I know all about sleep. I sleep all the time. I sleep all the time. Anyways, I was just going to talk about how kind of like cool everything is and fucked up at the same time, but you know, who cares? You know? Honestly, I'm like thinking about all the shit in my head. I'm like, yeah, I guess I kind of care, but why do I care? Oh, well, a number of reasons, but does anybody else give a shit? Probably not. So, what's the point of even doing this? Pretty much, that's kind of where I'm at. But I like doing it. I don't know. I've always wanted, ever since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to be, back then, before podcasts were even a thing, like a radio talk show host or whatever, which is so lame. Like to do morning radio or AM radio, talk radio, fucking, that's maybe why podcasts came along. I don't know. You know what I mean, folks? I don't know if anybody's ever seen The Shining. Very good movie, one of my favorites. The Shining with Jack Nicholson. And him and his wife and the little boy, they go up to this hotel in fucking Colorado that they closed down for the winter for some reason because it's too long to plow the road to getting there. It's so dumb. Now she's playing music. God help us. But no, basically they show up at the hotel and they have to watch over the hotel all winter, like fucking 7-8 months, because nobody is going to be at the hotel in the winter in Colorado in the mountains. What? But I mean, basically Jack Nicholson goes crazy. His wife is like just, you know, a clueless dud. Shocker, I know. And his son is like talking to himself and thinks like his finger is his fucking. He talks to his finger, but they're like telepathic. They show up to the hotel. I don't know if it's the owner or like the manager, the black guy. He is like reading the son's mind and they're communicating telepathically with each other. And The Shining, well, that movie is from the 70s. So, yeah. It's a really good movie if you haven't seen it. I heard Doctor Sleep is pretty good too. That's the new one where his son goes back to the hotel. I haven't seen it though. Doctor Sleep. The Shining, bro. I'm gonna be honest, folks. I'm at the point where I am just. I'm so goddamn confused about so many number of things, and also, but I'm more content, I guess, or I try to be. You know, try to be content at all times. Say the Serenity Prayer and fucking run over somebody with your car. That's a good way to get the rage out. Or shoot somebody in the face. Not like a random stranger. Somebody who, you know, you've been thinking about doing it every day for years probably. Maybe it's your wife or your husband. You know. I'm pretty sure, I think it's like what, 50% of marriages end in divorce and the other 50 like end in a shotgun to the head or some like poisoning. Women really like poisoning, that's the thing. Ricin. Can you get ricin on the black market, the dark web? That's a good question. Ricin. It's that poison that is used in Breaking Bad when they try to poison Gus Fring. It's like, apparently if you ingest it, it takes like at least 3 days for it to even have an effect, and then boom, you're done. Just like that. No side effects, no climactic symptoms, nothing. You just drop dead. Ricin. Also, you can, if you ever need to get rid of a body, they show you how to do that too in Breaking Bad. They literally just get like a plastic tub, put the body in there, and then they fill it with like this acid, and then it just melts the body. Even the bones, I think. It turns it to like liquid, like goop. I used to work at Minneapolis Public Housing, and this guy I used to work there with used to work at St. Paul Public Housing. Apparently they were not very good at like doing the rounds and shit at St. Paul. So, it's middle of July or June or August, I don't know. And he's there working and he smells something pretty bad. You know what that means, folks. Somebody's cooking, and I'm not talking about dinner or jambalaya. And these motherfuckers, the maintenance people that work there, they were so fucking lazy that this body was dead for, I think, over 2 weeks. Cooking in the 90-degree heat for 14 days. And none of the residents smelled it. Nobody called it in or anything. You know how they found out that there was a dead person in the apartment? The person who lived below them woke up in the middle of the night to something leaking on them from the apartment above. Yes, they clogged the toilet, and that's how they found out. Just kidding. No, the body got so fucking liquefied and melted in the sun for 2 weeks that it leaked through the floorboards onto the person living in the apartment below them, dripping on them while they were sleeping. That, I I wonder what cannibals would think of that, honestly. Seriously. Would they, like, get turned on? They probably would. I'm guessing they like the meat, though. You know, they don't want it to be goop. I mean, I've seen a couple bodies when I used to work there, I think. But you smell them for sure. You know when somebody's, like, died in the last day. Like, you can tell after a day. Dude, 2 weeks. Cook it in there like a rotisserie chicken. Like, turning into soup. The body and it is, I mean, Is it warm? That's what I would have asked the person who tasted it. It wasn't cold soup, was it? Cold soup is never good. But you know what is good? Nice, warm bowl chicken noodle. Like, piping hot. But if they were sleeping, it was probably nighttime, so it wasn't that warm. Damn, they missed out on the prime time. The perfect time to fucking catch a couple of bowls of soup. I don't know what I was going to say. Yeah. Madagascar, do they have soup? Yeah, they do. Yeah, they were probably black. Most of them are black in the public housing. Which, hey, man, I wish I was black and I lived in public housing sometimes, you know? They don't really, like, they just fucking do whatever the fuck they want and, like, shoot up drugs in their eyeballs. Or they literally never leave their apartment, so there's, like, mice and fucking cockroaches everywhere. It's so disgusting. Some of these people they have no shame. And you gotta, they're like disabled and old, so I feel bad for them, but it's like, Jesus Christ. Is you that big of a piece of shit your family can't even come in here and help you out a little bit? You have cockroaches on your fucking chin. Live ones. But hey, man, one time I found a fucking ball of heroin. Like a big ball, probably the size of, a little bit smaller than a golf ball. Like between a bouncy ball, like a mini bouncy ball, and a golf ball. I remember I was combing that fucking apartment. I knew there was something in there. A fucking ball of black tar heroin. And I didn't try it. I didn't do it. I just threw it away. I just threw it away. Thinking back on it, what would I have done today if I found that? Give me the dirty needle. Give me the dirty needle right now. Not a clean one. Only a dirty one. I only like dirty. Only dirty. Jesus fucking Christ. No. Sabotaging the audio on purpose. Deliberately. I know it sounds like a lovely woman, you know. He has his moments, but that's like Adolf Hitler reincarnated. Sometimes you just gotta give him the Sieg Heil, Mein Führer, and move on, and you're good. As long as you do the Sieg Heil, the Mein Fuhrer, you're good. Because that's really like, that was Hitler's thing. Just show respect when you see the man walk in the room. Raise your hand. Mein Fuhrer. He really likes that one. Mein Fuhrer. It means my father. Hitler. H. It. L. E-R. Nazis. Nazi. Not see. Not see. Nazi. Which, you know, I'm kind of going blind, so I guess, you know, that's where that one comes from. But yeah, The Shining. It just, you know, I had a vision a few months ago, and I don't really want to get into it right now, but, you know, I was in a jail cell in the very, very dim light on the ceiling. I remember getting pulled up towards the ceiling, and it was just bright white light everywhere. Everywhere. My entire vision was just bright white light. So bright and so white that it actually made noise. Ding, 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 ding. Like when a really high-pitched sound like tinks off of mirrors or glass. Ding, 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 ding. There was like smoke or clouds. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm not. I mean, yeah. But that's kind of where, you know, whenever I say my vision, I'm making it, whatever. Who gives a shit? Nobody cares. Or they all care. I don't know. You be the judge, jury, and executioner of yourself, of your own life, of your own decisions. If you care, care. It's like that Pink Floyd song. Don't be afraid to care. Breathe. Breathe in the air. Don't be afraid to care. Look around. Choose your own ground. And I just remember, you know, Matt and Shane. There's a lot of callbacks to them. They really, they got a lot of inside jokes about things that happened to me months and even a year later. It's pretty wild. It's, what do I say? I mean, I'm going to be, God. You ever like try to record some really awesome audio and nobody ever ruins it? It's just like the audio is perfect at all times. There's nobody screaming in the background. Yeah, so I'm just going to continue on where I left off. I paused the audio and I listened to it. And it's magnificent. And if you want to, like, somehow edit the volume settings, you can turn my voice down and get a nice, like, motivational speech from the Fuhrer himself. Anyways, I'm just going to go through a list here of cool stuff. So back in September, I called my buddy And while I was leaving him a voicemail, I had the radio playing 99.5. It's classical music in Minnesota, Twin Cities. You know, piano, orchestra, that kind of shit. It's not for like the common folk who are either blasting like 6ix9ine or, which I actually like 6ix9ine too. You gotta expand the horizons. Anyways, it's 99.5 classical music radio station, NPR. We listened to it all the time in high school when we would smoke weed, driving around, just high as fuck. When classical music is playing and you're just driving around in a car for hours, stoned as fuck, there's nothing quite like it. Just looking at all the big houses. Because, you know, I didn't grow up in a shit neighborhood or a shit town. Well, who knows? You know what I mean? Because it's called Andover, Minnesota, right? I think I might have touched on this. Yeah, I did. Well, not in an episode I released, but it's called Andover, Minnesota. Andover. And everybody in the town says it's because there's so many hills in Andover, Minnesota, that you just go and over and over and over and over and over. There's like 2 fucking hills in the whole fucking city. They're on the complete opposite ends of the city from each other. That's it. Those are the 2 hills. They're not big. There's one hill right by the Walmart, which used to be a Pavs baseball, like softball league. Like they had softball fields and baseball fields for like local drunk dads and moms. And volleyball. Yeah, you know, honestly, it sounds dope as fuck. And I'm fucking, whoever made the decision to put a Walmart there, there's a special place in hell for you, pal. It used to have at least 2 baseball fields, like sand volleyball, and just like TV, wings, and beer. That's what I remember as a kid. Driving past it. I never actually got the lucky chance to go in there. No, I didn't. They tore it down probably when I was 10 to 12. They put a Walmart there, right by the Andover Cinema. But yeah, that there's a hill right behind there that's like fenced in, like electric barbed wire fence. I don't know why. They got a bunch of deer back there or some shit. I think they like, I don't know. I think they fucked the deer or something. It's weird. Why do you have like an entire section like electrocuted in barbed wire fence? There's got to be some, I mean, Andover, it's a fairly new town. A couple of rich yuppies who like to fuck deer in the ass. As long as it's not a buck, I'm game. Can you imagine like the buck getting a little loose on you and then just fucking jabs you right in the fucking nuts with his antlers? But yeah, that's the one hill. And then there's another hill, like miles away, Shadowbrook. Both of them have football fields or baseball fields right by each other, right by the hill, which is why I know that 2 areas very well. Let me think. Is there another hill in Andover? I mean, my neighbor's backyard had a kind of a hill, and like it was probably like 10 feet. We would sled on it all the time in the winter. So I guess that's a hill. So 3 hills. Yeah, 3 hills. 2 of them technically aren't even really hills. So you got the one to go and over and over and over again. I mean, these guys in this group, yeah. So that's like what everybody in Andover, Minnesota is like prideful of. We have a bunch of hills in our city. So many that you can go and over and over and over until you're in Anoka. What they don't tell you is if you haven't been to Andover, there's not a single fucking hill after the first hill to go and over on. You know, I've been saying and over and over and over, like a lot, and I didn't even really realize it until very recently. Well, a couple months ago. I was like, oh shit, that's a little weird coincidence. I was like, world, just show me the lottery numbers over and over and over again. I'd say that every day for weeks. Not even thinking of Andover, Minnesota at all. The town that my dad's cabin is in, up north past Little Falls, about 15 minutes past Little Falls. Randall, Minnesota. Randall, Minnesota. Randall, Minnesota. Now, back in the good old days, about a year ago, I was doing some research on cybersecurity and psychological warfare, which is, on foreign soil, go for it, baby. But I came across this website, rand.org. RAND.org. Which is, a company which all they really do is like have a bunch of articles about war strategies and shit like that. And like global relations and how to fucking deal with AI or space warfare. Space warfare. But yeah, rand.org. It's been a company since the 40s. Randall, Minnesota, where my dad's cabin has been since I was about 10. So back to the voicemail story that I didn't finish, of course. I was leaving my buddy a voicemail. He never answered the phone, not once. Not once. Not during the voicemail. And I had the classical music playing pretty loudly because I knew he might like that. And I could barely even hear myself think while I was trying to talk to him. I was leaving him like a 5-minute voicemail. And like I said, he never answered the phone. It would have picked up and shown that he answered. He was talking to me through my cell phone speaker. I heard his voice.
Can't pay these bills without a job.
What's that, Mom? Yeah, you'll be fine. Just bring the Bring the Reich back over here. They might be able to help you out. Just kidding. I will. Whatever. You know what I mean? If I really want to really get into it, you know, it'll get there at the episode. I just don't want to rush. I know there's so many people so fucking interested in how so many people have made so much money off of my future timelines that between 2 movies and a video game, those 2 movies and a video game made over $6 billion. $6 billion. And because I'm like a guy who likes to think about certain things, I'm going to get back to the voicemail story because I still didn't finish it. You know what? Wild. The word wild, I might have said it already. Minnesota hockey team, which is a shit sports team name. Fucking in downtown St. Paul, where it gets it's real wild in the wilderness out there. At least it ain't Minneapolis, you know what I mean? That's really wild. WILD. Larry David. I don't know if anybody here has seen Curb Your Enthusiasm on HBO. My nickname HBO, like body odor. HBO. It's on HBO, Curb Your Enthusiasm. It just follows him around, and pretty much every episode is him just speaking his mind, like the free speech, red-blooded American that he is. You know. And people don't really like that, I guess. They would rather just like be passive and not start anything, which I get. But I mean, it's just funny watching him like express his opinions that you're pretty much on the side of most of the time, like as a viewer, because he's right most of the time. No, I'm not even kidding. Like some of these rules and shit that like no eggs after 11 a.m. at this restaurant. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The eggs are in the fridge. Fucking cook them. What am I missing here? You can't cook egg, like you can't take them out of the fridge after 11 a.m. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, wild. It's a word I've been saying for quite a long time, probably at least 7 years, before I even watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. I just say, wild. That's wild. That's crazy, man. WILD. Larry David. And if you're not familiar with the show, he basically just goes around getting himself in trouble by expressing his opinion and verbalizing how other people are wrong and he's right. It's the whole show, pretty much. And you know, he always usually gets in trouble because of it or whatever, but it's funny. And that's the thing. You're almost like 90% of the time you're on his. I mean, I'm on his side like 100 because he's right about everything. But yeah, wild. It's wild, bro. So yeah, the voicemail thing. Yeah, he was talking to me through my phone speaker, even though he didn't answer the phone while I was leaving a voicemail. He said, I think at the beginning I heard like, hate it, hate it, hate it. And I was like thinking to myself, what the fuck? I thought maybe he answered the phone, but it didn't show up on the thing on my phone as him answering. And that's when he said, yeah, this is what it is. And then the voicemail just cut out because the time ran out. Yep, this is what it is. I remember I was sitting in the parking lot of the Sierra Nevada and the Barnes & Noble in Woodbury. It was September and it was snowing. Like windy, slushy snow. About 6 months ago. Yeah, this is what it is. I had no idea what the fuck that even meant. I still don't. Because I'm not telepathic. I mean, not really. I never wanted to be. Never. Ever, ever, ever. But I guess I am kind of, even though for over like 2 years I thought I was just fucked up in the head. I thought all these thoughts were like mine. And even till like the last month or two, I didn't even realize that they were. I don't even think I realized that they were not my thoughts. Probably 2 months ago. I thought, I've thought a couple different things about it. And I still don't know. Because I'll be sitting, I may have touched on this earlier. But I'll be watching something or just playing a video game or whatever. Hanging out with my neighbors. And whatever they're talking about, I'll get like this random, weird, like extremely detailed, thought out fucking idea and concept that it's like a split second, kind of like the way my brain works when I compartmentalize shit to remember. But it'll have nothing to do with what I'm doing, what anybody around me is doing, what I'm watching, what I'm thinking about, what I thought about earlier today, what I thought about earlier that week. Has nothing to do with anything at all relating to anything really that I did not do, thought about, did not think about, said, did not say. Anybody around me. It'll be like this, not even like it's like a pressure, like, oh, this is what they're talking about is about you in this situation, actually. That's like the sense I get. And for probably for almost 2 years, I thought I was just like schizophrenic or losing my mind, kind of. But I knew I wasn't. So, what is that? What is that? And for a while, I thought it was just my own fucked up head, but then I realized that it might be the simulation doing that, and then I realized it might be other people telepathically communicating to me, which has become like a weird normalized thing out of nowhere. Yeah, which it never used to be. When I got in my most recent car accident in May of 2023. Before then, not one single time did I ever even think about somebody being able to read my mind or my thoughts. Not one single time. No red flag popped up. No, like, oh, did they just respond to my thoughts? Never, not one single time. I would have noticed, too. I would have noticed. Trust me, I kind of like am very hyper aware of whatever my surroundings and people, the way they talk and the way they act, their mannerisms and their body language and all that kind of shit. And it all started with the internet. I realized that the internet could do this, and then a couple of days later, the people in my life started doing it. Pretty piss poorly at first, I'll give it, really not good at deciphering what's going on up in my head. But as I noticed the internet get better at it, podcasters, musicians, what have you, I noticed the people around me too. They started getting a lot better at it. 10 months ago, well, almost 11 now. Before that, 10 and a half months, there was not a single, I don't even think once in my entire life for 24 years, I never once thought mind reading was ever a thing, it was possible, because I would have thought that if I would have, like, witnessed somebody do something to make me think that. It never happened once. 24 years of my life. Before that car accident. And it's like 11 months now almost. God, it feels like. Time has been going by so fast, but it feels like it was so long ago. That's crazy. That's crazy. Maybe because I have, like, experienced some of the most crazy shit ever that, like, most people don't experience in a lifetime. At least, well, I guess they do now. Yeah. A couple of my buddies were talking, and they were like, yeah, they don't really have that there. And, I didn't hear the entire conversation beforehand, but I'm almost very certain she was talking about whatever, telepathy. Like, she was like they can't read minds. Like, they can't do that over there. Like, it's a thing that everybody's been able to do all the time, forever. Wrong. I mean, literally everybody can do it. Except for, I mean, I kind of do sometimes, but I don't even know where it, or who. I don't want to. I never did. It's like a fucking dumb, retarded. Like, just use your words. Why is everybody so afraid to fucking speak about shit here? Like, what happened? Truly, I'm not even doing a bit right now. Like, what the fuck? It's, yeah. And I remember a time with people that are now normalized to telepathy and precognition that I remember a time where that was never a thing. We would just hang out and none of that was happening. Like for years. It was never, no telepathy, no seeing into the future, no accessing memories, no accessing other people's senses, no shape-shifting, skin-walking motherfuckers, no time dilution, no, literally just like huge buildings popping up overnight. None of that happened for 24 years of my life. None of it. I swear to God. And I don't know, like, has anybody ever seen The Truman Show? I gotta finish that movie again. But, it's basically, yeah, what's this face? Is it Jim Carrey? Jim Carrey. He basically lives in this, like, weird, town where there's cameras all over his house and his car and shit, his work. And everybody in the entire town watches him as a TV show. Like they just, like, there's a channel that has him just living his life all day, all night. And he's the only one who doesn't know about it. He slowly, I'm not going to give it away or anything. I mean, it's like fucking 30 years old. But I remember seeing that movie one time in like first grade. In school. We actually watched it in school. And I remember the ending. First grade memories are going to be spotty. Especially when you've had like 10 brain injuries and you do a bunch of drugs and booze. And you nuke your brain in a garage and you fall in your eye. You know what I mean? Memory ain't going to be all there. But I remember the ending. And I swear to God, I watched when I was rewatching it. There were scenes in there that I don't remember most of the movie, but I was like, this movie was not this crazy when I watched it. Like the scenes and the dialogue. And, yeah. Wild, man. Wild shit. So, yeah. Why did I bring that up? Because I said to my buddy about 18, 20 months ago, I was texting him and I said, I hadn't talked to him in a while, and he was like, how's life or whatever. I said, well, I'm basically kind of been living like a weird combination of Black Mirror, The Twilight Zone, and The Truman Show. If those two shows in that movie had a baby, well, I didn't know shit back then, man. It's funny how that kind of became true. That joke. If this world's all about comedy or whatever, I told a joke. I was joking kind of, but it literally became true. And now it's like throw Shutter Island in there a little bit. Those 4, 2 movies, 2 shows. It's actually a really good like mashup of themes. And Shutter Island, The Truman Show, Black Mirror, and The Twilight Zone. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. And I say Shutter Island because, I mean, genuinely, I'm at the point where, like, I don't know what fucking split personality disorder he had. And I'm not saying, I'm not going, like, blaming it on whatever. But it's so, seeing him fucking through that whole movie and how, like, you can split your brain into 2 personalities like that and not even remember at all what the other personality has for memories or does, or like, I should probably do more research on that because it's a pretty interesting topic. But like, the entire movie, he's running around the island trying to find this missing woman because he thinks he's a homicide detective. If you haven't seen the movie, for all the people who are listening, just skip ahead like a minute. And, yeah, well, whatever. I kind of spoiled it a little bit, but I hate doing that for people, but fucking go watch a movie from 2010. It's over half my life that movie's been out. 14 years. Well, add 10 to 14, and that's how many years none of this shit was going on. And, yeah, honestly, I just cannot see any version of myself that would ever put myself through this still. I mean, that's where I'm like, with the coma dream shit, I'm like, that is what keeps fucking making me not believe. Truly. And you know what? All of this would be like the perfect purgatory for, like, does, at least in my personal life, designed, because I could have died like 20 times. And the God or the devil or the devil, like, this would be the perfect scenario to try to test me and get me to give in to the temptations of hell. Simply by making me think that this is a dream and that if I kill myself, I would wake up. And that's right how you fucking get somebody in purgatory to go to hell. And, you know, from that vision, I hadn't had water in 2 days, over 2 days. So I was severely dehydrated. And you know, when I had that vision, I thought I was literally dying. I thought that was God asking me if I was ready to die and go to heaven. And to be honest, no, I didn't want to die. That's part of the reason why I said no. Another one would be to fucking get my fucking goddamn money that I should already have. Especially now that I'm like almost disproving coma dream, because I would never do this to myself. I just wouldn't. No version of myself would. I don't think any human would ever continuously do this, like, to themselves in a dream. I cannot imagine any human being ever, not even the patients at the fucking island, the insane asylum island. And they probably have pretty good dreams. So yeah, I thought that vision was heaven. And if that's heaven, that means if I kill myself, then I go to hell and I abandon that woman who is there with me. No. This is all for her. We can't do that. I can't do that. Because I'm the only one, like, involved in my, at least, I think anybody who is either in, like, an altered state of reality. This is why I brought up Shutter Island, because go watch the fucking movie if you don't want to get it spoiled. He thinks he's a homicide detective the entire movie, and he's a fucking patient at the psych ward. He literally thought he was running around with a gun trying to find this woman. And his doctors were, like, actually playing along, like, trying to get him to live his fantasy or some shit. So everybody in the movie is, like, pretending that he's a detective. Even the fucking patients. That's the one thing I never got about the ending. I thought, did he just hallucinate all of that and none of it even happened, or were they all just acting the entire time? That I still don't know, really. I guess they were acting. Because at the end, yeah, the fucking doctors tell him that, you know, he's relapsed or whatever the hell. He's relapsed on his personality. On the one where he just cannot think about how the fact that his wife killed their children. And it was probably his fault because he's a booze hound. PTSD motherfucker from the war with the Nazis. And he was, fucked up in the head, and he was just drinking all the time. But he knew his wife was a little bit fucked up. He just kind of pushed it aside until he comes home from work one day, and boom, there they are in the lake. They all drowned swimming. Yeah. Because she literally held them underwater until they died. And then he killed her. So yeah, dude's been through it, that's for sure. But he split his brain to the point where this other detective version of himself was still had just gotten out of the war. And I don't even think, he didn't even have any kids as this detective personality. He just had a wife that he lost, I think. So he didn't even, as he's the detective, he doesn't even remember the fact that his wife killed their kids and he killed her. He doesn't even remember that. He thinks he's a fucking homicide detective. It's truly one of the best movies of all time. It's by far Leonardo DiCaprio's best movie. And if you think, name one that's better. Titanic. The Revenant is probably number 2. I really like him in Django too. Django Unchained. He's the rich guy at the plantation at the end of the movie. He's not in a lot of the movie. But he's the one who's running the fucking Mendingo fights. Fight to the death. He's really good in that. Wolf of Wall Street is alright. It's kind of like a glorified fucking drug movie. I haven't seen The Great Gatsby. Inception is good, obviously. Inception's really good. It's probably number 3. Shutter Island, The Revenant, Django, and then Inception. He's also in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I didn't think that movie was that good, to be honest. It's so slow. There's no action or anything. It's a fucking Quentin Tarantino movie. There was no killing or anything until the very end of the movie, the last 10 minutes. Which, I guess, the story or whatever, the character arc, the character development. Character development. Yeah. I thought it was boring, I'm going to be honest. And the whole time I was waiting for Charles Manson and his fucking acid slaves to do some cult shit because they're in the movie. And nothing. They're just a bunch of fucking weirdos in an RV. I have only seen the movie once, so I might have to rewatch that. God, he's so good in that movie. I watched Catch Me If You Can recently. Kind of watched it. Eh. Apparently, it's a very highly regarded movie. I thought it was eh. 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 What other movies is he in? The Great Gatsby, I haven't seen that one. I think The Departed. I think when he was really young. Which I actually haven't seen The Departed either, so I've heard really good things about that one. Which, there's another movie it's right on the tip of my tongue that he's in. Oh, I'll just use the internet. I just started typing in my notebook. Back to the list. I got a little bit sidetracked. If you're not a fan of that, fuck off. I think I give a fuck what anybody thinks. I'm not in middle school as a woman who has not even hit her period yet. Yeah, so Titanic, Inception, The Departed, Wolf of Wall Street. All right, show me the other movies. Oh yeah, the new one, Killers of the Flower Moon. Obviously, some of these I haven't even heard of because he probably plays a minor role. Keep going down. I guess he was in Richard Jewell. I haven't seen that. Delirium. Huh. That's probably a new movie. Well, 2018. But, new as in, I've never even heard of this movie. With AI nowadays being what it is, they can literally, take The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and, they don't even need actors anymore. They don't even need writers to write the script. They don't need actors to act in them. They can just do it all on fucking AI, CGI. That's literally... Joe Rogan was fucking talking about it months ago. The biggest podcast in the entire world. I think he gets multiple 5 million views every podcast. He's bigger than the news, the national news. I think he's bigger than all of the national news channels combined. I mean, let's just go to YouTube right now and see Joe Rogan. Just to give you an idea, I'm not everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows his podcast. It's the most popular podcast of all time. I thought he just put him on Spotify. Wow, so he still puts him on YouTube. What? He did a deal with Spotify, though. whatever. So yeah, like 3 days ago, 1 million views. 6 days ago, 2.4 million views. Protect our parks. I mean, yeah, Kevin James 2 weeks ago, 2.9 million. So he's kind of a bum. He literally talks about everything. He talks to everybody. That's what's cool about Joe. He'll literally have like fucking Kanye on, and then he'll have a philosopher, Stephen Meyer, who I believe is actually a serial murderer. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast probably almost a year ago. Time flies. And it's just some philosopher guy talking about like the universe and how, I'd have to rewatch it again, but this dude is off of his fucking rocker. He's talking about like reality and consciousness. Like, dude, stop killing people. You're psychotic. Holy shit. Cat Williams 3 weeks ago, 15 million views. So, he had Giannis Papas on, Joey Diaz, man. Yeah, he has done 2,125 podcast episodes. And they're all at least an hour and a half long, every single one. So let's do the math here. 90 minutes times 2,125. I'm just going to round it up to 100 instead of 90. That would be 212,500 minutes. 212,500 minutes of talking. Is that, yeah. Trying to like, I don't know why I thought it was hours, because that would be way too many, obviously. Yeah, so 212,500 minutes of talking. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to suck the guy's dick or anything, but he literally talks about like how the government is like selling children out of the hospitals and literally everything. Except, no, I mean, he talks about AI and all that kind of shit on there too. Delirium. A man recently released from a mental institution inherits a mansion after his wealthy parents die. After a series of disturbing events, he comes to believe it is haunted. Or maybe you just need sleep, bruh. You should fucking put down the goddamn needle. Get these people off the dope, the morphine, the ketamine. If they're on that kind of stuff, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of these movies I don't even fucking recognize. 'Cause I don't watch that many movies anymore. Oh, yeah. They just, Inception and Shutter Island, I guess that didn't happen. They're not on here. Which, who needs them? Who needs them? He's only won one Oscar, and that's from The Revenant. What a fucking joke. Jesus. He's 50. Huh? I thought he was like 60. Yeah, the only one he's won is The Revenant. Came out in 2016. No fucking way. Yeah, no, I remember watching it in 2017. Yeah, I was watching it with my roommate in a halfway house. We also watched The Lord of the Rings. So yeah, you know what I mean? Kind of bit off topic. But hey, that's the way she goes. So I'll just keep going down this list here quick. All the podcasts are saying wake up, even though I didn't even know. Like, I thought they were, I thought they meant like wake up to the truth of like what was going on, that they were talking about me. And even now, I still, I still don't know. Because of multiple reasons, but I'm not gonna fucking get into it. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about her. So I said to my buddy once, if I saw my entire family in front of me, I don't even think I would believe that it's really them. I was joking. Comedy. And that started an entirely, like, domino effect of where I've seen my stepmom probably at least 1,500 times out driving around. Except it's not her. And my neighbor who was riding with me, he saw her too. You know? My dad, probably half as many times. I was doing an Amazon delivery one time. I was dropping off a package in the morning after my shift. Because, I don't know, I had to return it to the warehouse. And this dude and this younger girl looked like his daughter, but this guy looked like my dad, but with long hair and old. He looked just like my dad. He was fucking standing right next to me. Like my dad with long gray hair. And shorter. And nerdier. That never happened before the accident either. I don't know why I see my stepmom so much more than my dad, though. And really only them two. I mean, I've seen my sister a few times, like a couple dozen times. My cousin. I mean, a couple of other family members here and there, but those two the most. Like a lot. I also have seen my ex-girlfriend's Buick LeSabre. Make and model, like pretty much the same year, because, you know, after a couple of years, the body changes. In the last 2 years, I've seen that car probably over 400, 500 times. The 4 years before that, I saw it about 3. So for 4 years, I've seen it not even once a year. And I remember 4 years, seen it 3 times. 2 years, seen it 400. Not even exaggerating. So, yeah. You know? I don't even know. I'm not even fucking complaining. Or I don't even expect anybody to fucking give a single shit. If you do, cool. Give me a jingle. Give me a ring. But, yeah, it's just pretty crazy when you, like, when I think about all these things. Like my dog being able to read my mind. Like my dog. Yes, yeah, I know. Well, it's true. Last year, I was driving my mom's Jeep. Multiple times with her in the car as well. And she never noticed it. Nobody noticed the sounds that it made. Like, only when I would back out, like, put it in reverse and turn the wheels, and then put it in drive. It would make this fucking weird noise. Like, I don't know if it was the transmission or what. It was like clicking, like this. Give me 1 second. Not that. This. But more so like you know, in those shows like ER. I've never even watched that fucking show. House. Where the fucking hospital beds, like, they like pull them up, they pull the bed up, and it locks in place. That's literally what her car sounded like when I would reverse. I mean, nobody, I always thought it was kind of weird. But I thought, did it always make that sound, or am I just like being way too hyper aware of whatever? And I figured she would have known. Like, I don't know. I guess I thought in my head, like, I don't know. I just kind of brushed it off for a while. Around the same time, I would, you know, be in my garage a lot. And sometimes I wouldn't want to leave the garage to take a piss. And I had a bucket. A piss bucket, you know. And, you know, I had, over time, I had put other liquids and foods in there. Dip spit, cigarettes, coffee, ice cream, Dr. Pepper. Very like a culmination of kind of like what they did in Breaking Bad when they melt the body and the bones in the barrel. It's kind of probably pretty similar. Because it started smelling really bad, really bad. Like strong. Like, kind of like chemical waste. It's like it burned my eyes after a while. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was pretty funny, I'm not going to lie. Because my neighbors could smell it. I just thought it was funny, man. And I'm not going to lie, you know, like how I think it's like every human like likes the smell of their own shit. Which makes sense. I do too. It started to grow on me a little bit. But it's unlike anything I've ever smelled before in my life. Nothing has ever smelled like that piss bucket. With a bunch of other liquids in there. Like, if I smelled it right now, I would know exactly what it was. And while I still had the piss bucket in the garage, it was raining this time of year, last year, for like a week, like pretty much every day for a week straight in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. And I remember, you know how rainwater smells like fresh rainwater, usually? For like half of the week, like 3 days straight, the rainwater smelled like my piss bucket. Everywhere I went, anywhere I went, it smelled like the piss bucket. Even like dozens of miles away. And I can't remember what was going through my head at the time, but nobody else really noticed or said anything. I thought it was really odd. Because it smelled exactly like the piss bucket. The entire Twin Cities area. No, I didn't have any piss on my shoes or my clothes. You understand? The rainwater smelled like my piss bucket. Like I said, there's no other smell like it in the entire world, and there never will be again. With that concoction of liquids and bodily fluids. I think I even came in there a little. But yeah, for at least 2-3 days, the entire metropolitan area of the Twin Cities smelled like that. And for a while, for like a day or two, I thought it was like the fucking warehouse on the river. No. How do you like make the rainwater smell like my piss bucket? I'm not even joking. Like, I wish I was joking. I mean, not really, because it's kind of funny to like make an entire, like, millions of people smell foul urine. even though it wasn't, I didn't choose to do it. I think it was like, this is back when I thought the Illuminati was still up in the air. So I thought like the Illuminati had somehow made the rainwater smell like my piss bucket. In the entire Twin Cities, I'm like, that's kind of a fucked up prank to do to the entire city. But hey, I liked it. I liked the smell, so I didn't mind. Like I said, it grew on me. I actually liked going outside and smelling the piss. I'm not trying, it sounds impossible, but anybody who's listening, just think back to that time last summer. Was it last summer or 2 summers ago? Honestly, I don't even remember. That's how fucked up like time has been. I think it was last summer. Yeah. Anyways, if you want to know or have any information on any of these topics, or specifically the piss bucket, piss smell of the rainwater last summer, give it a like and a subscribe. And tell us your experience. I mean, I'm sure most people, like either that or my nose is broken and it only smells. You know what I mean? But it smelled like the fucking urine in my fucking garage. And there's no other smell like that. How? That was truly one of the most bizarre ones. That was back when, like, man, I was like excited to see the world. 5 years ago, I was going to move to Alaska. Back when me and my grandpa drove there and drove back, I was actually going to stay there, and he was going to drive back alone. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what? I got to go home, grab some things, and then I'm coming right back. Here I am 5 years later. Haven't been to Alaska since. I said I'd go back with Grandpa, and I'll be back in Alaska in a couple weeks. 52 weeks in a year times 5. 260 weeks. Jesus fucking Christ, man. God damn. Oh, yeah. It's just crazy to think about. Why did I bring up Alaska? One time I was camping with my grandpa and my uncles and my aunt. We were fishing for salmon. It was a salmon run. And it had been raining a couple of days before that, so like the water levels were really high, which means the salmon can't move upstream. They can't swim up the fucking overly fucking the high water, like, because the water is more intense. It's harder to swim up, so they just fucking rest until the water calms down and lowers. But when it's the salmon run in Alaska, Every salmon returns to the exact place that it was born to have its babies and then die. No matter how far up, because they come in from the ocean. And even if it's like hundreds of miles, you got to swim against the river current. They do it if they make it. But after a bunch of rain comes and then the water level's lower, they're all bad. It's like a rush hour traffic jam. Fucking salmon up the ass, all swimming up the river. To the point where we caught 55 salmon in like an hour or two. This one guy had his dip net in the water and he caught 9 salmon in one net. He had 9 salmon in his net. Before that, my uncle said they'd never gotten more than 3 at a time in one net. This motherfucker had 9. I have a video of it. It's fucking crazy. It's like almost midnight and the sun's out. It's fucking awesome. And I remember there's a little creek that flowed into the big river. A little creek. And I was so goddamn thirsty one day. I didn't have any water. I couldn't find any water because I don't know. They were gone with the vehicle or something. And I just started drinking out of the little creek. Like a lot of water. I just drank a bunch of it. And I had probably at least 12 to 16 beers that night. Natty Ice, not the natural lights, the natural ice, the black cans, the strong ones. Fucking like $10 for a 24 case, but it's like 5.9% alcohol. Get you fucked up. Tastes like shit, but hey, man. I had at least 12. And I didn't really have much water after that or before that. And I slept on the fucking beach, like right next to the river. There's motherfuckers with 4-wheelers like riding around and there's all the sand is flying up while I'm sleeping. And I remember waking up and my throat hurt so bad from all the sand and like dust that had gotten in my mouth. Just from sleeping there. Like, it hurts. It hurt really bad. My throat. I couldn't even breathe. It was so dry. And I remember feeling like shit. Like I was hungover, but also I was like sick, like a motherfucker. I was puking. Like I've never felt like that in my entire life, where you feel like your eyes are removed from your brain or your skull, but you still feel the pain and like the disorientation. It's because of the fucking creek water. Apparently, you're not supposed to drink the creek water. You know, you should really boil your water or some shit. That's what they told me to do after the fact. The next day, the dude's like, "Were you drinking from that creek yesterday?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, no, I think it's whatever, fucking cow shit all over the rocks in the creek." I call it a creek. So like if you look at the rocks, you can see like fucking like weird fuzz. Yeah, that's cow shit. From where? I don't know, because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere in Alaska. Where the cows are, I don't even know. But there was cow shit all over the creek. And that's what got me sick. And you don't do it. Just boil the water. Or just go fucking eat a cow pie. Because you'll get more protein that way. I'm trying to think of where there could possibly be cows shitting in the creek. I mean, Alaska, you're in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's just wilderness. There's no cows. Maybe they meant cow moose, cow caribou, cow deer. Yeah, that's probably actually maybe what they meant. Not like fucking beef cows. Like, yeah. That was a fun time. That was one of the best nights of my entire life, I'm not gonna lie. Probably was. Fucking uncle was there, two of my uncles, my grandpa, my uncle's wife, his kid. Good times, man, good times. Just drinking and fishing. Until you legally, like, you catch your legal limit for that river. They caught their legal limit for that river in one fucking night. 55 salmon from each river they could take because of their family size. 55 salmon in a matter of like 2 hours. So fuck your goddamn grocery store salmon. It tastes like shit. It really does. Well, okay. Has anybody here ever been raped by wolves? I honestly prefer hyenas. But, you know, hyenas, schmyenas, pythons, tortoises. Tortoise is a good fuck. If we're like going for bestiality. Because they're not going to be able to run away from you or squirm around or anything, you know what I mean? They're pretty easy to rape. A tortoise. And their teeth aren't that hard. So, you know, you can always fuck its face. Unless it's a snapping turtle. Then you want to make sure you're really, really, really hard. That way he won't be able to, you know, break it. So, who here likes privacy? You know that South Park episode? Where the, what's his face? What is that, Harry and Meghan Markle? They're fucking running around the country just screaming at everybody at the top of their lungs, "We want privacy." To everybody, so everybody knows who they are and that they want and need privacy. And, yeah, where was I going? Oh, yeah. One thing I've learned about life, at least, this kind of ties into the Alaska story, but, you know, if I had fucking succeeded in some of the things I had done earlier before that in my life, then that trip never would have happened. And my grandpa probably wouldn't have even gone up there either. Like, none of it would have happened. And a lot of things wouldn't have happened. Because I wouldn't be alive. And that was literally the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. Was driving up to Alaska and back. I think, because we did a lot of driving in Alaska. We did a lot of driving in Canada. We went to Washington and Yellowstone on the way back. We stayed like 3 days in Yellowstone. Then we went to the Grand Tetons. And then South Dakota to finish it off, top it off. Mount Rushmore. And we were going to see the Black Hills, but it was like raining and Grandpa just wanted to get home, man. I think he drove all night. I fell asleep and he drove all fucking night because he just wanted to get back. And then I remember we got to the town I live in now, Newport, like 6 a.m. We went to fucking the diner here in Newport, had breakfast. Like our 40th time going to a diner on the road trip. Man, that was so much fucking fun. Goddamn. So if you're ever feeling like life's got you down, hear these words. You'll be fine. And trust me, life is worth living. And yeah, all that fruity shit. We were gone for, I think it was like 40, it was at least 6 weeks. I think it was like 48 days almost. Something like that. We spent a month in Alaska. We got nothing better to do, you know what I mean? Fucking legal weed up there. The land of the midnight sun, literally. Like in the summertime, that it never gets like dark out in the summer. The sky is always blue. It's always light out for like 3 months. And you wake up every morning, there's fucking moose in the backyard. And it's just so goddamn peaceful and quiet. Just silence. There's mosquitoes the size of your eyeballs there, though. And if you fucking leave the screen door open for like 5 seconds, you're gonna get fucking raped in the middle of the night by mosquitoes. People around here bitch about mosquitoes, dude. I'm not even like, they're the size of your eyeball almost. And they're everywhere. Like there's so many of them. Like you have to have like 7 candles, the off candles. So yeah, don't fucking be a pussy. And because then you won't be able to drive to Alaska or whatever. Just take my word for it. Because, I wouldn't have gotten to spend that time with my uncles, my family, because a bunch of the other family flew up there while me and my grandpa were there. We drove there, we got there before everybody else, probably at least a week before, so we were just chilling for a week, maybe 2. I can't really remember exactly the time period that they all showed up, but they were all there for a week. And then me and Grandpa stayed for like another week or 2. There was a shit ton of family up there. And also, yeah, my fucking light keeps blinking on my ceiling fan. But the bulb is brand new. And it's screwed in there tight. And it's not blinking all the time, super consistently. It's just every like 15 minutes. It's weird. You know, back when I was really into doing research on coma dreams, I read a story about this guy who lived like an entire life, like a normal life. He got married twice. He had a couple kids. He had no fucking idea it was a dream. Until one day, the lamp looked weird. The lamp in his fucking living room or something. And he just stared at the lamp for 3 fucking days. He just stared at the lamp with the light on for 3 days. That's what I read. And then he woke up or whatever. I don't know. He didn't specify.
Okay, I restarted the blink thing.
Oh, Jesus Christ. 72 hours. I think his wife said that he didn't even get up to piss or anything. What a fucking freak. That seems, you know, a bit unlikely, but hey. An entire life. Jesus Christ. And he didn't even know until the last, 3 days. He had no idea, from what I remember reading a story, he didn't even remember, anything else weird about his life at all. Which, you know, I mean, there's worse dreams to have. There is, you ever seen Saw? You know, like Jigsaw? There's 12 of them now. I really like that little fucking puppet. The little swirly spirals on his cheeks. Literally putting people in obstacle course, death traps. And he's a puppet. It's the puppet. How does the puppet fucking... Oh yeah, I was gonna talk about the fucking... whatever that fake bridge collapsing in Baltimore was. But I'll do that at the beginning of a different episode or whatever. This one I'm just I don't even know. Who gives a shit? If you don't like it, don't fucking listen. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. There's the light again. It keeps blinking. So, Alaska is someplace that everybody should visit. Because it's unlike any other place on the planet, I think. I mean, maybe Russia might be a little bit like it. But it's, you think wilderness, the fucking Minnesota woods. There's, fucking, stores spread out throughout the woods sometimes. I mean, unless you get really far up north. But, in Alaska, you can go over 100 miles and not even see a gas station. It's a 2-lane fucking road. The only highway, quote-unquote highway. And it's 1 lane going one way and 1 lane going the other way. And that's the only road to and from where you gotta go. Possible. Like, yeah, there's side roads that you can turn, but the only road that's going to get you back to Anchorage or wherever you're going is that one road. Just to go fishing, we had to drive like 4.5 hours one way. And that's like fucking 10% of the state. We did not, we didn't go see Denali though, which is a big bummer. Tallest mountain in North America. Fucking should have done that. But, you know, part of me was like, you know what? I'll be back here in a couple weeks. So, I'll just go see it then. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Couple weeks. That was in the summer of 2019. Then COVID. COVID hit. That really fucked everything up. COVID. Did they eat a bat or something? Like, how the fuck do you, like, start a flu by eating some fucking bat? Or it started in a lab. Either way, it's probably, like, the left probably think it's Donald Trump's fault, and the right probably think it's Joe Biden's fault. It's like, yeah, they were the ones cooking up the disease and the virus in the lab. I could actually see both of them doing that. That'd be pretty hilarious. Just like with like lab coats on. All serious too, like for the documentary. Fucking Fauci had a documentary on Disney. What a fucking lunatic. That guy doesn't even fucking do anything. He does nothing. He's a fake doctor. You know, I used to think that I had a really bad memory because I would forget shit because I used to smoke a lot of weed. Like a lot of weed. And it would make me forget all kinds of shit. Or I was a fucking drunk too. I used to drink a 175 of Windsor Canadian. Or I'd get, you know, I'd like to switch it up, maybe get some Jameson or Jack Daniels, Tennessee Honey, or Captain Morgan. Maybe some vodka every once in a while. Vodka's, you know, ugh. But I would drink a 175. Like, that's almost 2 gallons. Every 2 to 3 days. Every 3 days, like clockwork. At least every 3 days. I'd be getting it. I would have like bottles fucking everywhere. That's how you really like pretty much just lose your entire memory for like 6 months. Just trying to not think about this girl that won't talk to you anymore. And it works. You know, and here's another thing. If you ever like a drunk piece of shit who likes drinking a lot, which I recommend, especially if you're driving home from work. if you ever get hangovers, the perfect solution to where you never have to have another hangover again, ever, is not start drinking when you wake up, because that's like everybody, oh, you just got to get more alcohol in your system. No, but then you're still feeling like shit in the morning right when you wake up. Then that's how you become like a real fucking alcoholic. To the point where like you are in pain when you wake up, and then when you drink, you're not in pain anymore. Because you can die from alcohol withdrawal. But if you want to avoid that, before you go to bed, when you're drinking, a night that you're drinking, like a night that you're drinking, if you got work or whatever, you got to be up in the morning, or you just don't want to feel like shit in the morning, pop a cup of Tylenol and hit the hay. Right before you lay your head on that little pillow, pop a cup of Tylenol or Excedrin. You will not feel any pain when you wake up. Trust me. You'll actually feel energized. It will like tear apart your insides, but hey, fucking early bird gets the worm or whatever. I'm not even joking. It really does work. 2 Tylenol before you go to sleep. You will not even wake up with a headache, I swear to God. Sometimes 3 I would take. I was doing this for pretty much every weekday. And people think I'm bad now. Holy shit. Back then, oh man. Like just, I mean, 1.75 gallon of liquor every 2 to 3 days. And taking like 6 Tylenol when the booze is in your belly, like a lot of booze is in your belly. God damn, dude. It's like I think back on times like that, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like trying to like picture myself drinking half a bottle of whiskey in one night. Every night for 6 months. It is kind of fun though. You know what else is fun? Life. Life is real fun. And you know what? That's all there really is to say. At least from me about that topic. What do you guys think? I'm going to put a poll at the bottom of the thing here. You know, there's some things that I like tell myself I'm going to bring up, and then I just get totally sidetracked and forget. And to be honest, I don't really even give a fuck. I don't care. Anytime I talk about shit that's actually important, nobody fucking takes me seriously anyways, so I'm going to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. And if you don't like it, tell me what I can do to change your mind. Please, I need to know. Please. I need your approval. The 4 people who listen? I really need your approval on what to talk about. Can I make the title of the episode better? What about the description of the episode? What about the podcast name? What about my name? Should I change my name? Am I in middle school and have I had a period yet? No and no. Okay. You know what's funny? My littlest sister, she's going to be 15 this year, which is pretty wild. She's going to be 50. She's going to be driving a car with a parent in it, obviously. Unless she fucking steals one of their cars, which would not be a bad idea. They would fucking let her do it and let her drive to fucking Mexico. Because she's the youngest. That's the way it goes. She's the only kid left at the house. Sucker. She still got 4 years of high school left. Damn, dude. You know what I think is really fun? Existing. I think existing is really, really fun. And I'm sure anybody who's listening to this right now who hasn't, or maybe who has attempted, because you know, if you've attempted whatever, like, can you imagine being a suicide survivor from like a shotgun to the head? Whew. Jesus Christ. How retarded do you have to be to fail at that? Because it does happen. Like, people aim at the back of their throat. Jeez, man. I've heard stories like that. Like where they aim at the back of their throat, nowhere near their brain. And they just permanently fuck their entire head. Like where they can't, yeah. Just look it up if you want to. It happens. I mean, I'm not even joking. There are people, I mean, can you imagine being that retarded and then, like, trying to function after that? You know what else I like? I love this goddamn country so much, but it's not what I remember, what it should be. This is not the America that I grew up with. You know, where the Constitution and the Bill of Rights and all that kind of jazz are not only like respected and upheld by the citizens, but like people die for those fucking liberties. The foundations and principles of which this country was founded upon. And yes, we may have took it from some Indians, but who did they take it from? Exactly. It's the past. Who gives a shit? But right now, our rights. I don't know about your guys' rights. But mine, I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't even really feel like I have any. Not really. I don't know if anybody else feels the same. I probably should, talk about this, not at the end of a 3-hour episode, but whatever. I don't care. I'm multitasking too. Because I'm a productive person who never stops working. Even though if copyright infringement was like a thing that anybody in the world gave a shit about, like they, like most people claim to, I would just be doing like, well, my mom would be retired and my family would be pretty much set. Yeah. Who knows? We'll see. We'll see what happens tonight. I bought a lottery ticket, so you know how that's going to go. I win every time. Do you guys actually lose when you buy lottery tickets? I'll even read my fucking numbers off. I don't give a shit. I'll read my address off. I'm really liking the way this castle's looking. It's like a castle. It's an adult coloring picture. These will be on the Patreon or, you know, whatever. You can, like, choose whatever you want if you want to buy one. This is like a crystal castle. That's what I'm going to call it. Because there's crystals everywhere. It's a common theme in these books that I didn't really notice when I first opened them up. There's crystals everywhere, and then it leads to this castle made of crystals. And there's like a little boy, well, like I don't know, it could be a girl, who knows. Like a wizard flying on a magic carpet. And there's a dragon with a crystal, with crystals on its tail. So yeah. Crystal Castle. This, yeah, all four of these books are from the same artist. So she must like crystals too. Which reminds me of one of my uncle's ex-girlfriends who carried rocks around with her in all of her pockets like a fucking freak. If she had like back pain, she would carry a bunch of rocks in her back pocket. Like a bunch of them. And my uncle, he was like, well, maybe you wouldn't have so much back pain if you didn't carry so many goddamn rocks in your pocket. I mean, he's got a point. She had like, you know, you could tell that they weren't helping her. Oh, but this one's made of obsidian and... Yeah, bitch, take the rocks out of your back pocket. What are you doing? And then he broke up with her, you know, of course. Nobody wants to date a chick who carries around like 17 rocks in her pocket. In her pockets. I'm not even joking. This lady was... I mean, she was cute, but Jesus Christ, man. Why are you so obsessed with rocks? Like, I got a bunch of rocks that I collected in Alaska and Canada, but I don't carry them around in my pocket. Like, 5 pounds worth of rocks. It's insane. And no, I'm not talking like crack rocks, because that would actually make sense. That I can get behind. But like obsidian, you know, this country's going to shit, man. I hate to say it, but, you know, I gotta call it like it is. God help us.